What is good? This is Talks with the Reach, episode 5. If you are new here, welcome in. We appreciate you checking us out. If you aren't new and you've been here for a little while, thank you guys for all the support and all the love. But yeah, I'm excited, boys. It's week 5 or episode 5. We're having a lot of fun. Welcome in.
How y'all doing?
What's going on,
Hey,
guys?
Thanksgiving tomorrow. We're recording this. It'll be uploaded before then, but looking forward to some food.
Little turkey, creamy
Yeah.
casserole. What's your guys' favorite dish?
Ooh, we talked about that a little earlier today. Favorite side dishes,
Yeah,
and I went with mac and cheese. Mac and cheese on the side. I mean, it's
okay.
it's the staple.
Classic.
Yeah,
Classic.
you got to have it.
Yeah, hard to mess up.
See, I like the mix the turkey, the mashed potatoes, and the corn. Get it all
Okay.
together.
Yeah,
I call that poop. Yeah, that's how it comes out. I like the green bean casserole. That's my favorite.
Okay, yeah.
With or without the onions on the top.
I'm surprised you didn't
extra.
get any stuffing in as the answers here.
Yeah.
But no, with
nothing-
Thanksgiving being
nothing
tomorrow, with it being today when this uploads, lots of games to go into later on. It'll be a fun week. 3 games on Thursday, 1 game on Friday, and then all the slate on Sunday, and then a game on Monday. So NFL football Thursday, Friday, Sunday, and Monday. So we're gonna be spoiled this week.
Yes.
But last week, lots of things to talk about. Anything that really you want to get into, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to talk about them every week if I can. The Lions game was amazing. You know, it was
Ooh,
back against the wall. You think it's done. You think they're gonna get dealt that loss, and they have that miraculous comeback. Give you all the confidence in the world after winning a game like that. Down by 12. Now, what was interesting was Chicago going for that field goal with like 4 minutes left. I feel like if Dan Campbell's at the helm, he goes for that 4th down. And if Chicago could have just run out the clock a little bit more. What's the point of going up? It's 2 scores either way. So to me, that was their downfall. And then Detroit, all they needed was the 3 minutes left, and they were able to come back. What was also nice was that Aiden Hutchinson sack fumble into a safety at the kind of solidify it towards the end of the game too. It was already over, but that kind of got the crowd. You could really hear the passion of getting that win.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up because you definitely see the inexperience of a head coach when you see something like that. Like you said, the time, right? It's more beneficial to hold on to the football and go for it than it is to they still make it a 2-point or 2-score game. Either way, it's going to be. So, and it's not like 2 touchdowns. I mean, you're still underneath that 2 touchdown gap. But for you, as a Lions fan and watching that, is there you talk, and you're not wrong at all. You talk about the momentum that you get, the confidence you get when your back's against the wall. You come back from that. They should have been down and out, and the Bears should have won that game. I think at some point the Bears were already celebrating that. I think not celebrating, but Fields was kind of dancing a little bit, like a little bit more of the showcasing. And but what is the percentage of how the hell are we down to the Bears and why? Like it, because in my opinion, it should have been a blowout. I'm sure a lot of people will agree. Versus confidence going forward. Like, are you? What's the percentage of confidence versus a worrisome in that aspect of that?
So I think this is going to be a good learning moment. I think Dan Campbell is going to just get them hopefully motivated moving forward. That even with adversity, they can come back and win those. Obviously, the second side of that is, you're right. How are you down to the Bears at home? Shouldn't have happened in the first place, but it's a good learning moment to see that even when you are down, this team can come together and get the job done. So that was the best part, I think, of it. Is even though they shouldn't have been down to the Bears, they were, and they were able to come back. So that's good for the future. These next couple of weeks when we're going to see some teams that we're going to have to still step up and beat, just like we did this week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, me and Fancy talk about it all the time. It's the NFL. I mean, it's week to week. Doesn't matter who they are or what they are. They're going to come out, and I mean, the divisional games, they're going to come out a little bit more aggressive and want to take you guys out because you're going to be somewhere where they're not going to be come January. come February maybe too. But yeah, I mean, you're not wrong at all about that, and we'll see what happens with the Lions going forward, what they decide to dictate that with. I'm sure you're rooting for that to be momentum, but we'll see if other teams start to come out hot against them. But Fancy, what about you?
Yeah, I just want to say I was definitely surprised at the way the Bears came out of the gate right quick. I just didn't know that. I was really questioning, is Justin Fields really that guy to really make
Yeah,
that big of a difference?
the Bears did look a lot different.
Yeah, they did look a lot different. So maybe something to keep in mind. As the current owner of the Bears, we need to maintain that status and keep that mind moving forward. But
I'm happy we don't have any Bears like fans here, but I just know that my brother watches every one of these podcasts, and he's gonna be so tilted when he listens to that. So that's amazing.
I mean, like
Put your
Lizzo said,
Packers stuff on
truth
for
hurts.
yeah.
And I mean, just another surprising but victory nonetheless. With some people that I was really surprised with. I mean, there was no Aaron Jones is out. I think AJ Dillon got hurt, if I remember right, and then someone I didn't even know of, Jaden Reed. Uh, maybe that's our new guy. Maybe we cut some people loose like we always do when they're really good. Watson and Dobbs really touchdown a piece. Nice to see them actually kind of reeling it in. It reminds me of like old school Jordy Nelson. And the defense surprisingly was able to hold down the Chargers and Justin Herbert, who I've said for years. I mean, really since he kind of took the reins from 10-time dad Philip Rivers. I was like, this is a real team and it's a real quarterback. It's a real organization that's just right there on the brink. I feel like a lot of teams in the AFC are that way. And we managed to hold them off and secure the win, little 3 point, double digits. Just it's nice to see. It's kind of
Yeah.
like a breath of relief.
Are you happy with the way Jordan Love kind of actually stepped up in this game? And is that a sign, moving forward that he is your guy?
That is a step in the right direction. I was never one of the Packers fans that said he's not the guy or he is the guy. I was like, you got to give him a chance. Let's see what he's learned. Let's see what he knows. Let's see how they change the offense around him because they have to adapt it a little bit, which has been a lot more run heavy, which is why everybody's freaking hurt. And it's I am. I was pleased with what I saw in a team that anybody, even the Chiefs, will know uh, the Chargers not to be fucked with. You got to deal with them appropriately because that's a legit team.
Yeah. And with Jordan Love, me and you talked about it. It's one of those where I think that you saw Rodgers struggle with that team last year, right? And it's like they didn't
Yeah,
really gain anything. They lost more than they gained in terms of offensive weapons. So now you're giving someone less than what Rodgers had and Rodgers struggled
yeah.
with that. So the fact that he's actually doing something, I just have a feeling if you start to surround him just a little bit more, you're going to see the NFC North, I think as a whole, start to really be some scary teams with Lions and Packers and Vikings and even maybe the Bears, like we said. But a fun little set that I had, I think this was regards to before this week, but, all time, the Chargers are 482 and 482. Herbert is 29 and 29 as a starter, and since his first start, they have scored 1,502 points, and they've allowed 1,502 points. I mean, isn't that crazy? Like, the absolute balance in that? The same
Wow.
exact team record in wins losses. Him as a starter, 29, 29, and then the same exact points and points allowed is the exact same, so but like you said, Chargers good team. Just a fun little thing to throw in there. But for me, we're always saying with the homie picks here, but the Eagles Chiefs game, 21-17, the Eagles get it done. Not favored to win it all. Um, but it was an ugly game with a lot of calls. It was raining, it was cold, windy, but with that win, Hurts now broke a record. He is the longest quarterback having a streak of winning 13 games in a row versus teams that have a winning record. Um, it's a record that was held for like 73 years. So a lot of people, we make fun of the Cowboys not winning and the Dolphins not winning against teams above 500. So just to see, a quarterback and my quarterback have that underneath his belt now is pretty cool. Obviously, a really big accomplishment when you are able to take out that many winning teams and competitive teams in a row. But yeah, I mean, just I was a little worried going to the game, but I'm glad they got it done. Our team is a completely different team with DeAndre Swift. I mean, it's like having LaShawn McCoy again. He's just so agile and so
Mhm.
swifty, I guess, if you will.
Mhm.
But
I thought it was Travis Kelce.
we talked a lot about Justin Fields, and
Mm.
obviously now with the Chiefs and Eagles game, I had it was cool. I saw a stat today before we move on to the DK segment. Saw a stat today that Justin Fields and the Bears have scored more points this season than Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Hmm.
Isn't that
Wow.
crazy to think about? And to even make it crazier, the Chiefs beat the Bears, I think week 3 or week 4, 40 something to 10. So that's even more mind-boggling to think about. The Bears have scored
Yeah.
230 and the Chiefs have scored 225, and this is up to date. This is up to week 11 at the moment. They both have obviously had a bye, I believe, and then have played each other. So interesting to think about. That just goes to show you. We get to our DK picks here in a second. You guys will see Fancy's defense, but um, the Chiefs' defense is a lot better than they have been in the past years. But
I think they're ranked number 2.
yeah, I mean, I
One or
don't
2
know, like,
top. They're top 3, I think.
yeah,
Or
I mean,
maybe not after this last week.
last episode, Matt talked about like top 10 offenses and defenses, and they were definitely in there for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, they've looked good, man. They've added a lot of pieces. So, but last week DK, I ended up becoming the winner. So
Just
I
barely.
won week 1 of doing this. Matt won week 2, and Fancy won last week, and I won this week by 0.60. Obviously, me and Fancy had the same quarterback. We both had Calvin Ridley, so that kind of balanced each other's stats out a little bit. But for me, I mean, it was having Monty. I knew Monty was going to have. I mean, he scored a touchdown in every single game this season that he's finished. Right? He had that one game where he got hurt, and obviously didn't come back, so he didn't have a touchdown in that game. But every other game this season, he scored one or more touchdowns. So I mean, look for Montgomery just in anything. I mean, even in betting. I mean, I'm taking him as anytime touchdown tomorrow in the Thursday games on Thanksgiving. But Jerome Ford kind of just got it done. Just I mean, I was talking to Fancy about it before we started the pod. As long as you can get about 10 points from your guys, that is going to be successful in the long run. If you have just consistency over time. But besides the how Monty and Ridley picks for me, Pollard's really screwed me up the last couple times that I picked him, and we talked about it. Eventually, he's going to come through, and this week he did. And then Commanders defense not a bad run either. So
You know what's interesting about this is I said this last week is the bottom line when it comes to making your DK picks is you got to have more fire than ice. And I didn't have more fire than ice. Jake didn't have more fire than ice. Matt did. Or he
that
didn't
had
have
equal.
less. It was
Yeah,
equal. And
yeah,
Yep.
somehow it still didn't matter. And
yeah.
I'm
Me
just,
and you had more ice than fire. That is a good point. That's a good point.
it's just one of those things. I mean, you just substitute a couple picks
Yep.
and where does that take you on your DK lineup against the
Matt's
rest
team
of
did
the
really
world?
well. I think what hurt a lot there, what helped a lot too, is Charbonnet came in with Kenneth Walker getting hurt, so you got lucky there in that pick of you probably got him for really low, Matt. But Achan really
Oh
hurt you
God.
just leaving that game like he
Yeah.
did. But
I
Nakua and Hill, I mean, hey, those were really good picks. I mean, even Kyler
Oh
Murray,
yeah.
it's the highest quarterback points that out of us three picked up.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
took that gamble. Like, that was more so like I was hopeful. It happened in my home league lineup. I've got him on my team, so it was kind of I was trying to will it into this lineup too, saying he's coming back, gonna be right back where he was those first 3 weeks that he just absolutely dominated. I was hopeful. My guess is any sign of pain, any sign of tweaking that knee, they're not going to take a chance. You know what I mean?
yeah,
He's this star rookie. So I'm kind of anxiously waiting the news, and for the Friday game to see if they are gonna to sit him out again or let him come back. But yeah, that was my downfall for sure. You can't
yep,
get 1.5 on your RB1. So
yep.
Poof.
But we'll get into the next week that we have for this upcoming week. This is Sunday only, so we're missing out on the Thursday. There's 3 games Thursday, 1 game Friday, and 1 game Monday. So we're missing out on 5 games. So the slate was a little bit thin than what we're used to. But let's see what we came up with. We will be posting this on our socials, on Instagram stories. So we might not talk about it as much as we have in the last couple of podcasts. But if you guys are interested in seeing the lineups, obviously you can pause it or just go to our socials where you could find our lineups. Um, we all went with extremely low priced quarterbacks,
Yeah,
which
look at these
when I
quarterbacks.
went with
Wow.
it, yeah, when I went with it, I thought, "Man, I'm gonna be made fun of. I'm gonna be like, wow, what is going on here?" But for me, I had to do up Will Levis and Hopkins together. Obviously Hopkins is like boom or bust. So this is either gonna really, really work for me, or we're gonna talk here. I'm gonna have like 62 points, and I'm gonna be made fun of because I beat Matt's all time low.
Yep.
But against Carolina, we've seen a lot of sparks for Will Levis. I'm just hoping that this week is another one of those weeks where he kind of just proves that he should be the starting quarterback there moving forward, and then hoping that it goes to Hopkins because typically whenever Levis is doing good, Hopkins is doing really, really good. And then for me, Etienne and Pacheco have just been really good on the ground lately. Pacheco didn't get in last game, but he had a really good game against the Eagles. So I just think it's kind of just one of those they're going to feed the hot hand and get him in the end zone because he deserves it. And then Etienne, I think, will light up Houston as well.
I really wanted to find a way to sneak an ETN into my lineup.
Yeah.
I tried a bunch of different ways, but
Yep.
I spent my money on my wide receivers.
Yeah, you got some good ones.
Yeah, so I couldn't make it work because I really love Puka and Evans.
Yep.
Evans is my stack with Mayfield, so I couldn't get him in there, but I was right there with you. I'm thinking he's gonna light Houston up.
Yeah, me and you went Njoku, which I do like against. They have the worst tight end defense in the league, which I do like that. Especially with a rookie quarterback in, right. They're starting it's like either they call him DTR or something like, or whatever it is for the Browns. They do like to dump it off of that safety valve for the tight end there. So
Yeah,
cheaper
his
cheaper price
targets
there.
his targets were up
Yeah.
real high last week with the
Yep.
with the new quarterback in.
Yeah, I
So
mean, he's one of those things where he's a scrambling quarterback like Watson is, and we talked about it before. You're inexperienced quarterback in the NFL. You're going to rely on those running backs and tight ends to just dish it off to when you're not reading those plays down the field. Me and Fancy went with Rashad White, which I really like. Um, they have a good matchup here this week. But before we move on from this, I do want to point out, and I want to hear Fancy talk about it a little bit. Um, 2 weeks ago, Fancy picked the 49ers against the Jags, the defense, and it was a really low price pick because of the fact that the 49ers were struggling and the Jags were hot. And we talked about it. It could be ugly for him to do that, and they ended up with 21 points. Then last week he picks the Cowboys defense and they get 20 points. Fancy's back-to-back weeks now. I'm picking a defense that last week outscored his quarterback, and I mean both weeks now have been outscoring quarterbacks. So Fancy, obviously you picked the Chiefs. I mean, walk us through. If you can keep doing this, I mean, you're going to keep having a lot of success in these lineups. So
Yeah, I mean, in the 10 years I've been in and out of just fantasy football, period. Like your defense is kind of a write off, change week to week. You can swap them around, um, and so I never really want to spend a whole lot of money. I just look for a good matchup, and the Chiefs' record shows one thing. The team itself, I think, is a different animal. And Vegas, while going through some changes and having success with the recent changes, um, KC got to Hurts a lot in that first half. And
Chris Jones, man, holy,
yeah, yeah. And guess what? Vegas isn't the Eagles,
yep,
not by a mile. And so in my mind, at $3,100, that opened up a lot of space. I got to rearrange a few other people, and I said, I mean, that's a pretty good matchup. And I mean,
yeah,
the fact that you guys spent more for what I would consider maybe less. I'm just like, I wonder what
yeah.
DK's doing with their prices, you
Yeah.
know?
No, after I did see that, I was like, man, that matchup is actually really good. Obviously, I think the Steelers are high, but I think they're going to be. I mean, TJ Watt and the Steelers. They're. We'll get into the matchups, but you know, I do like. I think me and Matt picked them this week, but with
Mhm,
going up against a backup quarterback, they're going to make his life a living hell back there. I mean, they are going to
mhm,
light him up. So,
mhm.
it'll be interesting to see. But But yeah, I mean, I love the fact that you went with a quarterback that's like a little bit mixture of me and you, long hair and a mustache. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you had to put yourself on the line up there. So rooting for yourself there. But the next segment we got is stats within reach. So this week we have stats within reach, but with a little bit of a twist. Last week we had a little bit of a Pictionary fun little thing, and this week we have one stats within reach, and then we have a guess who, I guess you can say. It's gonna be interesting. I'm waiting to see what stumps you, if anything stumps you guys. Um, they're not too hard, but like I said, just for the audience, it's going to be a list of teams and the logos that the person has played for, and then you guys have to guess who it is. So it'll show you the years, it'll show you the team logo, and then you guys just have to pick what player it is. So to start it off, our first one, which in my opinion should be the easiest one or one of the easiest ones to just get you guys going here. We got Broncos, Rams, and the Bills.
Oh, that's easy.
Guesses?
Oh, Von Miller.
Okay. Yeah, we gotta keep track. We gotta keep track here because I think last week Matt we had 5 total. I think Matt took you 3-2. I think he
Yeah.
took the last one on
He
you.
got the last one.
The Cooper Cup one's what messed you up. You kept checking out that
Yeah.
but yeah, it is Von Miller.
Nice.
So good job, Fancy 1 point. The next one that we got, Texans, Cardinals, and the Titans.
D-Hop.
Whoo, Fancy coming in. I don't know if Matt's just letting him go here, or if
He's got it.
you falling asleep over there or what?
A little bit.
A little bit. All right. I don't know how many of these in total I have. But I know you're going to be running pretty slim here if you don't catch up to Fancy. I have to add a couple more here as we're going through because just the way it works. But the next one, Jaguars, Rams, Dolphins. This one might be a little bit tougher.
It was Jalen Ramsey.
Wow.
That's impressive. That was good.
I mean, I thought this would be if I'm being honest with you, Fancy is very, very bad when it comes to names. So I didn't think Fancy was going to honestly get
I don't know where it's coming from.
These. You don't know where it's coming from. Whatever's in that cup must be helping you.
Motherfucker, that's some good tea.
All right, we got one more ready to hear. I think I have a couple more. I just got to keep adding them and stuff like that. But the next one,
Wentz.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As soon as I saw the freaking Rams, I was like, God dang it.
Okay.
Okay.
See, now
I didn't want to get shut out. I didn't want to get shut out. I
didn't want to get shut out.
Hey, blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yep, I got one.
True.
I'm good.
That's true. Yeah, that is indeed Wentz.
The only other option would have been Fitzpatrick because he's the only person that played for 19 teams.
I was thinking. In my head. I'm like, did he play for the Eagles? Like, there's like a 50% chance that he probably did.
Yeah.
Dude, we should freaking look up one of these days how many teams was it? Was it above 15 teams?
I don't know, but he's got a commercial about it now where he starts naming them off, and Kevin Hart falls asleep listening to it. It's funny.
It's got to be my guess would be between 9 and 12.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Okay, 9 and 12. Okay,
that'd be my educated guess.
All right, let me get these last 2 up here for you guys. So we got 2 more. So it's 3-1 right now. So that means to go to a tie. Here we go. We'll go. So if we get to a tie, if Matt gets these next 2, it's 3-3. You guys are going to give me an exact number of how many teams Fitzpatrick was on, and that'll be the tiebreaker. So if we get to that point, if Fancy just gets one of these next 2,
no, Fancy's dominating. So we'll see.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. All right, we're going to save this one for the last one because I think it's the toughest one. But we have this one next.
OBJ.
You got it.
Yep, nice.
You got it. Wow. Matt, I thought you were going to be dominant on this.
I need more time.
Oh, Fancy, you got to slow down there, pal.
I'm quick.
All right, last one. I don't know if you guys will get this one. This one was probably the toughest one.
Claypool?
Claypool didn't play on either one of those teams.
Young. Chase Young?
Nope. Chase Young was. Oh, that was a good bet. That was good, but no.
If you didn't have the years on there, yeah, it would be one of those that.
Yep.
Uh,
Just think about it. Chase Young didn't enter league in 2010.
20. I didn't even look. I was just looking at the number. Shit,
Yep.
2010.
This one might stump both of you. I will say he's all pro, best at his position.
Damn. Interesting.
Give you guys about 10 more seconds.
College?
I don't know his college. But I don't think that would help you, honestly. I don't think it's a big, like...
Yeah.
Trent Williams.
Oh.
Trent Williams, the best tackle in the league.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so I had some... See, so look, I had some decent... A couple of them stumped Matt on him, but Fancy was just on the gun, man. It was, I mean, a good thing Fancy showed up. Fancy showed up.
Don't expect that every week.
Yeah. Yeah, now next week, we're just going to be... I mean, it's going to be brutal.
I'm just like the team that I root for. I am in and out. Bottom line.
By week. Okay, so now with that though, I do have the stats within reach. It's just one. I want to start off with that. But so this is option 1, option 2. Okay. So these are the stats within the last 3 games. Option 1, you got 2,929 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 5-7 record. Option number 2, 3,714 passing yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 7-5 record.
So it's their last 3 games, but the record is what they have this year?
It's the last 3 games, but it's a group of 4 on each side.
Oh.
So you're picking a group of players that I shrunk up some stats on.
Okay.
So the records that you see is 4, obviously it's quarterbacks. It's 4 quarterbacks, their records, their stats combined versus another group of 4 on the other side.
Well, that's interesting. I've always said, points win games. And at 1 more interception, a better record, almost 1,000 more yards, and 5 more touchdowns, it's hard to argue against those stats. I'm going option 2.
There's going to be a trick here. I know it, but yeah, 3,700, 25 touchdowns, better record.
Option number 2 for you.
You gotta go option 2.
All right. This is the first time. This is the first week you guys have ever agreed on 1 stats within reach. So on the left, you got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Lamar Jackson. And on the right, as option 2, as you guys picked, you guys get C.J. Stroud, Joshua Dobbs, Sam Howell, and Baker Mayfield. Isn't that crazy to think about? You talk about some power. You talk about the faces of the NFL versus guys. 1 weren't even 2 of them are rookies that weren't even starting. The other one's been tossed around a bunch, and the other one's even been tossed around a bunch even more.
Yeah. You got 2 rookies and 2 people that teams just don't want to hang on to, don't realize what gems they actually had. And then you got, 4 people that go to any, fantasy league draft and see how quick they go.
And they should be MVP candidates.
Yeah. And not saying that they are. It's just a fun little last 3 games thing.
Yeah.
For
That's
them.
that's incredible. It's really incredible.
It just goes to show you how well, CJ and Dobbs as of late, Sam and Baker have been playing. It's been fun to see. So, that I think at the end of the year, if you look at these guys individually compared to the other ones, I think it's going to be a different story.
After the Giants game, is Sam Howell still leading the NFL with yards? With
good question.
Good
question.
You know what? I actually had that pulled up.
Yeah, I'm not.
Yes, yes, he does.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say because I mean the people below him. I mean, you think about Hurts didn't have a good passing week. Either did Mahomes. So I'm sure there wasn't any really big crazy passers besides Josh Allen maybe taking it from him. But
no.
But with that going forward,
1,000 interceptions.
With that going forward, Josh Prescott and we have the week 12 matchups to get into, to dive into a little bit. So like we've already said, obviously tomorrow or today when this gets broadcasted, it gets uploaded, um, is Thanksgiving. So fancy, Matt, happy Thanksgiving.
You
But
sir.
we have
You
three
as well.
games. One game on Black Friday, which is a new thing this year. This is the first game they'll ever have on Black Friday, which is fun. Couldn't have picked a worse one. But yeah, so let's just dive right into it. Obviously, I knew right away with this matchup, Fancy was going to go with the Packers, and I'm going to side with the Lions. Like Matt said, I think it's just going to be one of those things where lots of momentum. They're at home. Lions, I mean, they've always been pretty tough at home in general because it does get loud there. Um, but yeah, I just like that matchup for sure. I think that's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a good game to watch. I think it'll be one of the best games of the day, compared to the other ones. But I guess you two
Matt,
can talk about this one more than I can because it's Fancy versus Matt here. So
I mean, it's definitely, once again, I'm never going to pick against the Packers.
disclaimer.
Divisional like games, we all know, everybody who watches any football knows that those games, no matter what the record shows and what the last eight games might say, you know, these games are a whole different deal. It's two different teams that show up those days, and it's going to be good. I mean, this is like that. NFC North is a Thanksgiving tradition, period. And I don't expect the Lions to lay down and take it. And you know, I mean, we're gonna see if Jordan Loves comes off that Sunday with a little bit of confidence and keeps it going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not only is it my home pick, I'm going to pick the Lions, but I like them coming off of a week where they had a little bit of adversity. Um, I think they'll be able to turn that around on
Yeah.
what is basically right a primetime game, right? You've got the first Thanksgiving Day game.
Lots of people gonna be watching.
Yeah, so I think they really
Yeah.
can showcase it. What I'm excited for is what I'm thinking is Montgomery and Gibbs both, continuing that progress where they're both just that tandem together, just unstoppable. So
Yeah,
and then what I'd like to see is Laporta's been quiet
yeah.
these past, I think, 3 games, maybe just last 2 games. I'd like to see him get worked back into this, and see that domination again, from the rookie.
I
Yeah.
want the record to show that Laporta is probably my biggest worry. Is it's players like him that the
Well, and the run
Green
game.
Bay Green Bay leaves wide open though. Like Green Bay will leave that dude 30 yards of space
Yeah, I
every
mean,
time.
and the run game. That's one thing. When you're coming off a short week, you have 3 games to prepare and to rest up both teams,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
And you both kind of had a battle. I mean, the Packers Chargers game was a close one. The Lions Bears game was a close one. So it's a lot of energy and a lot of you know recovery that's going to be needed. And so going off that, I think it's going to be a lot of run games and a lot of tight ends, like you said, involved. But I just like Lions, Laporta, Lions, Monty, and Gibbs in the backfield rather than what the Packers have in that matchup. But before we keep going into this, I did forget to go over. We can look at our records real quick. Last week, Matt took the lead in terms of just weekly stuff. Matt, you went 10-4. I went 9-5. Fancy went 6-8. Little rough one for Fancy, but Fancy has taken a lot of underdogs every single week. So it's something that we're definitely going to keep track of here because Fancy's gotten a lot of the underdogs right. And obviously with that, there's more downside than there is upside. So, but me at 39-19, Matt at 36-22, and Fancy at 29-29. Moving on to the next matchup though, Cowboys Commanders. We all pick Cowboys. I think it's gonna be a rough one for the Commanders because I wish they came off that loss, that tough loss to the Giants last week. And had a better matchup, they can get a win. Because I do like Sam Howell, I think we all do. But Cowboys just wiped the floor there. There's really, I mean, it's going to be one of those games where I'm glad that's going to be around the time where people are leaving family stuff. So we're going to be on the road.
I would love to be wrong on that one. I
Yeah.
want to be wrong on
No,
that.
absolutely. I think we all want to be wrong. And then the next one, we all picked the 49ers, but I do think the Seahawks 49ers game is going to be closer than a lot of people do think. When you look at the record 7-3, 6-4, this is a big game for Seattle. They want to they want a chance. I mean, everyone wants to win their division, right? They just don't want a playoff spot. They don't want to be wild card. They want to be the NFC West divisional leader, and divisional champ. So it's gonna be a big game for them, and it's in Seattle, which I mean, you got the home field advantage there. It's never easy. But yeah, I mean, all of us got 49ers there.
So that one's interesting to me because I kind of wanted to pick the Seahawks, but with Geno Smith being questionable,
and Kenneth
you know,
Walker.
yeah,
He's
and
out.
then that transition to Charbonnet. So I really had to kind of just stick with the 49ers.
As much as we want to maybe think about that, you look at the injury report and Geno might not play. Kenneth Walker's not playing. DK's questionable. It's like,
Yeah,
I mean, they're gonna have to be healthy going into this matchup against the 49ers to do anything about it. And if they
right.
don't, the 49ers, I mean, it might the last 2 games on Thursday here might be blowouts. I mean, I can see the Cowboys blowing the Washington Commanders out, and I could see 49ers just blowing Seattle out of the water. But you never know. Those divisional matchups, all 3 of those games on Thursday are gonna be fun to watch. Then our Black Friday matchup, Dolphins Jets. You guys are finally done picking the Jets. Zach Wilson gets benched, so you guys finally get hop off the Zach Wilson banging moms hype train. Now you guys have Tim Boyle, which is the most backup quarterback name I've ever heard in my entire life. It's the most fitting name you could have named someone to be a backup quarterback as their
Hey,
destiny.
he's a
Um,
Lion. He's a Lions
um,
rejectee. So
but first Black Friday game. I mean, Dolphins easy, especially with the Jets defense just letting up that many points to the Bills. I think the Dolphins can do the same exact thing. Then we go to Sunday, the Sunday
Hold on.
slates. What?
The Jets defense didn't let up as many points as the Jets offense let up. The Bills defense scored. And it's just that's one of those things that I'm not saying like saying wrong or right, but it's just like that's why they got to get rid of those quarterbacks. That fucking Jets is just absolutely
Yeah,
ridiculous with
that's what I'm saying. We'll
that
see. We'll
offensive.
see what happens.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah,
see
no,
what
I
team
mean
comes
for
out.
sure. I definitely think that the Dolphins capitalize on the offensive trouble that the Jets have had since the first snap of the fucking
Yeah,
yep.
season. But
So Ramsey gets 2 picks
yeah.
basically.
yeah, Ramsey's gonna get picks, and I think we should have picked the Dolphins defense. Now I'm looking at
There
it
you go.
for RTK.
Then we have I think one of the coming up are going to be some good matchups here. Steelers Bengals. Um, it's funny because Fancy thought he picked the Steelers, so he was kind of leaning towards wanting to go with the Steelers. The reason I went the Steelers, I don't know about you, Matt, but they did fire my Matt Canada.
Yep.
And what you saw, with the Bills, whether you want, I mean, Fancy's gonna hate the Bills no matter who. I mean, Fancy they can bring Joe Montana, and Fancy would still hate the Bills. Um, they signed Aaron Rodgers. I think he would just burn all of his Aaron Rodgers jerseys. He hates the Bills that much. But Bills fired their offensive coordinator. They get a new one. They put up some points. They win a game they need to win. I think that you're gonna start seeing a Steelers team that can put up a little bit more offense than they have, which isn't gonna be much to do when they have only been put up like 10 points a game. But Bengals backup quarterback Joe Burrow out for the year. Steelers easy in this one.
Yeah, I love. It was from a couple weeks ago. They're running into the tunnel, and Matt Canada says something about
And Chris Boswell.
yeah, and then the
Yep.
kicker goes, "Not because of you."
Yeah, he goes, I can tell you right now, it's not because of you. Yeah.
And that was, I mean, that's fitting,
Yep.
and so that's a great move on their
Yep.
part. Hopefully, they can turn that offense.
Yeah.
Turn that
I think it's
offense
one of
on.
those things where when it's that well known. I mean, when they lost last week, Najee Harris was literally just saying, like I'm tired of I don't know, I don't have anything to say. Like I'm just tired of it, tired of it all, like all this stuff. You can see how exhausting it is for guys. So I think when you bring a new guy in, like we saw with the Raiders, they come out and they win 2 games in a row. It changes. Now they're playing for something. Now it's you're not only playing the Bengals, you're playing it against Matt Canada to prove like you were the fucking problem, right? It's
Yeah,
fuck you. We were
Mhm.
good. You were the reason we were
Absolutely.
bad. And when your
Yeah.
kicker's saying that, it's saying something.
Yeah.
So, man, do you even have anything in the Bengals, or we just
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not just picking against the grain like it's the grain. Because Mike Tomlin's still Mike Tomlin. As much as I love the guy, and the reason why I think the Steelers have a good chance of winning the the AFC North, it's a rivalry that minus one person, I think the Bengals, the run game is going to be important and the defense is going to be important. But as much as Joey Burrow has been on his back and got sacked and everything else, I mean, they've managed to win games, kind of kind of letting their quarterback down. So I think they can still do the same with the Steelers.
Yeah, see, for me, I view the Bengals as without Joe Burrow, they were nothing. I mean, they were just. I mean, I think they started off the season 0-3, 1-4, maybe
Sure,
something like
sure.
that.
Oh no,
The
you're
ba
absolutely
their
right.
defense is rough. I mean, and for me, I think like you said, I think they do have a good run game, but I just think when teams know that that pass of like threat is gone, when you're reaching the quarterback that quick and it's backup, it's like that run game all of a sudden just disappears. But we'll see. Like you said, these rivalry games, you never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of rivalry games. I mean, we've went through the first 5 games, and every single one is a divisional matchup. And our sixth one here,
Yeah,
Jags Texans, is another divisional matchup. Um, Me and you
that's gonna
fancy
be
took the
good.
Texans. I love that. I genuinely think this is going to be up there too. This is going to be up there too with one of those games that could possibly be game of the week, like the a lot of these divisional matchups can be. I just like CJ Stroud right now. He's hot. The Jaguars defense is kind of been struggling since coming off the bye week, as we saw them against the 49ers. But the Jaguars is one of those things where we wanted to go to the Seahawks, but we couldn't because the injuries. Texans are healthy. Texans are looking good. Devin Singletary looks better running back than Damian Pierce, and with that showcase last week for those fantasy owners, if you guys don't have set Devin Singletary and he's available, pick him up. Um, but Jaguars are going to be it's going to be an offense to take down. So CJ Stroud in the offense is going to have to outscore Trevor Lawrence, which will be tough in general here. So
Yeah, I see it as a high point scoring affair. I don't want to compare it, but when the Texans played Tampa Bay, how it kind of came down to those last couple possessions, just firing back and forth. That's how I kind of see this one matching up. But Trevor Lawrence, ETN, you saw Calvin Ridley come back and show out last week. I think they are the better team here, and they can outlast the Texans. Is how I see
yeah,
it.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a great game. I went with Houston just because we thought it was gonna be a shootout between the Jags and the Niners, and it wasn't. And I just kind of following that same. I'm following that.
I got you.
Texans are
Um,
hot at the right time.
then the next matchup is Colts Bucks, which is going to be an interesting one. Kind of like it can go 50-50 in my opinion. I've been sticking with the Colts most of the season. In these 50-50 matchups, and they've got it done for me. In Indianapolis, I just like the Colts.
Baker Mayfield. I love that guy, and I'll say it
Gotcha.
every time. And you'll be surprised at how many quarterbacks are doing a lot worse than him. And granted, it's more than just one person. It's in a 1v1. And I mean, I think this is a team. They're about equally matched. I think this is just a lower level Niners Seahawks game.
Yeah.
That's what I see.
And I thought it was funny because I picked Baker for my quarterback,
Yep.
and he picked
You guys picked
Minshew,
he picked
and we
Minshew, then
swapped
bet
GG.
against Bucks, then you picked Baker and bet against
Yep, that's funny.
or whatever, vice versa. So
Yeah.
interesting for sure. Then we got Saints, Falcons there. We all picked Saints. I think the Saints are just the better team. Arthur Smith, how he's not fired yet, I don't know. I don't know why I hate Arthur Smith as much as I do. I just do. He's so much talent on his team, and he's just nothing with it. It's crazy in my opinion. Now he's going back to Desmond Ritter, which I talked about. How do you bench a guy putting up 250 plus yards a game, and then you go to a guy that doesn't work out, and then you're going to try to go back? I mean, you had a winning record with the quarterback. You benched him. Now you got a losing record. Now you're going to start him again. It's ridiculous. They don't use Bijan Robinson. They don't use Kyle Pitts. It's mind boggling. It just pisses me off to think about it.
I liked him better when he had the mustache, like Fancy. He was a cooler guy.
He's just declining in overall in life.
Yep.
But then we got the Giants Patriots, which kind of a shit show matchup. But it still did just surprise me a little bit that you guys picked the Giants. Not saying that the Patriots are much better than that, but I thought one of you guys would go Patriots with me. I just don't think I think the Patriots have been really, really bad. but I think they've lost to some pretty good teams. Like, if you look through their schedule, I think they've lost to some pretty solid teams, and it's just like they just don't have the team together. I just don't see them falling to a team like the Giants. But I guess we'll see. I think Bill Belichick's going to make Tommy DeVito's life a living hell the way I know Bill Belichick. So
Yeah, the only way to do it is, Saquon's gonna have the ball, 50 times in this matchup or
yeah,
something
which if he
something
stays healthy, it'll
ridiculous.
work.
Yeah, something ridiculous. I think that's the only way they have a chance is get the ball out of his hands, get it into Saquon's hands, and just let him take over.
Yep.
Well, DeVito's got the fucking gabagoo.
Yeah, he's got the fucking gabagoo. Fucking.
So that's
Um,
gonna take the cake there.
yeah. And then we got Titans Panthers, which is that's easy. That's Titans all day. Like I said, I got Will Levis and D Hop. Fancy, you got Derrick Henry. So we're expecting. It's funny because I kind of expect some points in that game. I don't know what the over under is, but I'm kind of expecting some points. Kind of some weaker defenses there. And it's just gonna be who can put up the most points in that matchup. But then we got a decent matchups again, another divisional one. Rams Cardinals, both kind of out of the playoff picture, so they're not really, they're not really in talks or in any important games unless the Rams start to really raffle off some wins here, which I just don't know if they're going to stay healthy with. They have had Cooper Cup out in the beginning. Nakua was questionable this week. Stafford with a finger, all this other stuff. I still am taking the Rams over the Cardinals. I think if it's in the Cardinals' best interest, they just keep tanking and just build a team for next year. Especially with bringing Kyler back. Like, what's the point of bringing Kyler back when you're 1-8? But yeah, Rams in this one easy.
I've got the Cardinals, mostly because for everything you said that you're ignoring about the Rams, is why I was like, I don't know how the Cardinals lose this. Kyler Murray's back. He looked good. I almost picked him as a quarterback, but I think his price was a little too high for my DK. And yeah, I just think I think they come out of this one. I do agree they should tank, but I don't think they will, and I think they win.
So I see, so Kyron Williams coming back. He was explosive for,
Yep.
And he had like 100% snap share in the running game before he went down. He's back. They released Daryl Henderson, which was so interesting. They pick him up, and then now that Kyron's back, they just release him.
They kind of
But
messed up.
yeah, so I mean that just shows you how much confidence they have in Kyron Williams. And I think obviously, I've been high on Puka. I've got him in my home league. With Cooper Cup potentially being out, that's definitely why I picked Puka up for my daily as well. I think they can take over this game against Cardinals.
Yeah. And then the next game, Browns Broncos. Me and Matt have the Broncos. Fancy you have me and Matt have the Browns, and Fancy you have the Broncos. I think this one could go either way, with no Deshaun Watson. But like we said, the Browns still kind of got it done, and I think you give that rookie quarterback a little bit more time. Um, you know, he's going to start using Njoku, like you said, Matt. You talk about his targets; they've spiked up. I mean, you
15
still
targets.
you
last
still
game.
have Amari. You still have Amari Cooper, which is going to be great once he gets more comfortable. And even without Nick Chubb, their running game has still not been that bad with Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. So it's not a great Broncos defense. Not the best. And they don't score very consistently, but I can see them winning this game. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. This could be Fancy's pick of the week where he upsets us there, Matt. But I got Browns in that one.
Yeah, be on the look. Oh, go ahead, Fancy.
My pick of the week that's going to upset you guys is Green Bay. This one is just going to be like icing on the cake because they're playing at Mile High, and that right there slows people down.
Yeah.
And I mean, no matter how many times you've played there, unless you play there and live there, that is like that home field advantage that's almost cheating as far as the auction depletion goes. So that's, as close as the matchup is already. I think Sean Payton and the Broncos are really coming together, and then with that home field advantage, I think that's why they pull it out. Not by much, but they win.
Yep. So I see, Sutton's going to get his one touchdown a game like he's had damn near every week for the Broncos. But I think that's the offense right there. That's all you're going to see. I think it defensively. I'm high on the Browns every single week. Have you seen Myles Garrett? He's a beast. So I I think with the way Russell Wilson's been playing, Myles Garrett's going to get to him and disrupt him, and I don't think they can overcome that Browns defense.
Yeah, we'll see. This slate this week is going to be a fun one. I think there's going to be a lot of games that kind of go down to the wire. We'll see how it plays out. Normally, when we think that it's just a bunch of blowouts, but the last 4 games that we got here, we all picked the same exact um, thing. So by the time those 3 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games Eastern time end, we'll see who out of us is going to be the leader, because the last 4 games aren't going to matter in terms of our record. But Chiefs versus Raiders, we all have Chiefs. That's going to be an easy one. I'll just go down to the Ravens Chargers there. I think that's going to be a high scoring game. I think that Sunday Night Football game is going to be a fun one to watch, fun one to bet on. High scoring game. We all have Ravens. I think there's just a well-rounded team compared to the Chargers. I think the Chargers missed out on that defense. And then Vikings easily, unless the Bears show up the way that they did against the Lions. But like the Bears always do, they choke it some way, somehow, like they did against the Broncos that week too. But the game that I'm surprised, I mean, surprised and not surprised, because if Fancy didn't hate the Bills as much as he hates the Bills, maybe he would have went Bills. But Philly, 9-1, huge win. I mean, they beat the Cowboys to go into the bye. They beat the Chiefs after the bye, get the Super Bowl, rematch, and get that revenge. They I think they exposed the Bills more. My cousin texted me and he asked me, he said, "Do the Bills come out and play better now because they're playing against a good team?" Because the Bills always play bad against bad teams, right? They stoop down. So do the Bills actually showcase it? But I think there's a good chance that the Eagles just kind of just expose everything that they really are as a team. So
Yeah, so I looked at, I think I said it last week. You look at this gauntlet that the Eagles go through right now, coming out of their bye. The Chiefs was the first test, got it done. I think Bills this week is another test to see really where they match up, because the Bills hopefully make it a good game, and we see Josh Allen actually play football, and then they've got the Niners and then the Cowboys. So this is the week 2 of this gauntlet that they're going to go through, and I see them coming out on top.
Yep. There's a 5-week stretch where it's Cowboys, Chiefs, Bills, 49ers, Cowboys, and I said if we can go 3-2 through it, I mean, I don't want that one loss that we have, obviously, but if we can get 3-2 through it, it's gonna be healthy. Obviously going into Dallas will be a little bit tougher. But we win this one, 49ers are gonna be at our throats for a chance at that NFC championship, because they were so injured, as they claimed that they would have beat us if they were healthy, which every team can say that. But that is it for the matchups this week. Like I said, we showed I'll show it one more time just to showcase it. But these are right now I am in the lead at 39-19. Matt is 36-22, and Fancy is 29-29. So Fancy, you are risking going under 500 in this if you don't have a good week here.
I'm gonna sweep it. I'm gonna sweep this week, so I'm not worried about it.
Nice. But this week, as you guys can see at the bottom, there is no buys this week. There is no buys. Every team is playing, so lots of football. Like I said, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday. So lots of fun stuff. But our last segment, we'll go into trivia with Matt. Matt's got a fun question for us, I hope. And yeah, check out the trivia. What do you got for us, Matt?
All right, trivia time, the most exciting part of the show, right?
Everyone's waiting for it.
Yep. So, all right, bear with me, because I kind of wanted to split this. So this is a very broad question. I'm trying to limit it. So, you may come up with some more answers, but I tried to limit it to Super Bowl era. So,
Okay.
so this week's question, I need you guys to name the NFL teams and or franchises, because some of them have switched as well, that have moved cities, and so I want to do it with just the Super Bowl era, not some of the
Super Bowl era started when?
67.
67. Okay, so Fancy's gonna be better at this than I will be, but I'll start us off with Raiders.
I'm not that much older. God.
No, I just mean in history though. You know way more of the history thing, so you're pretty old though. But we don't gotta get it. I guess I did just turn 25, but
All right, so
Yeah.
here's the
do you have a list of how many?
yeah. So here's the nuanced part of this question though. So, and I didn't know how to, because who did you just say?
I said Raiders.
Okay, so that's correct, but it's multifaceted, right? Yes, we saw the Raiders just move to
Oakland to Las Vegas.
correct, but there are also other moves as well. So I guess can you name all the moves that the Raiders have done?
My whole life they've been in Oakland, so.
So they were the LA Raiders.
Oh man, I was gonna say LA too.
So they actually moved back and forth between Oakland and LA. So it's actually 3 moves.
LA, Oakland, Las Vegas.
Yeah, so it's Oakland to LA. They were the LA Raiders, and then LA to Oakland, which is in recent history who you know them as, right? And then now this most recent move to Las
Okay, I have
Vegas.
one more off the top of my head, not to keep going for Fancy, but St. Louis Rams to LA Rams. Because we were just talking about that, Fancy.
We just talked about another one too.
So
I'll let you get that one, yeah.
So that one's good, but again,
one more.
Can you?
Is it Chicago?
No.
So it's kind of, this is a tricky one, but they were actually LA before they were St. Louis.
So it was LA, St. Louis, LA.
Correct. Yep. But that one might get lost, and you probably wouldn't know that one probably before you.
Because I was saying when I was really young, they were St. Louis, then moved to LA not too long ago.
Yep.
The Browns.
So yep, the Browns. But that one's
Baltimore, right?
So yeah, I was gonna say. So that's that's where the franchise portion of this kind of comes into play. Cleveland Browns, literally, they moved their franchise to where now we see the Ravens. So yeah, that's good. That's a good one because that's one of those where
then
it's
a new franchise started in Cleveland and named it Cleveland Browns.
So then they were
Ravens.
So then technically, yeah, the Ravens were the quote unquote new team, and then the Browns came back.
Wow.
Which,
okay. And you get
like what we talked about. I mean, well, that would be the Titans.
Yeah.
There you go.
I might have one more, man. It might be a long shot, but I think
so
how many are there? Do you have it?
Yeah, I'll count those up. So explain that one if you know the history behind it.
He does.
Go ahead. It sounds like you do though, right?
Between the Titans?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So the Oilers moved to Tennessee, and then in 2000, I think they're both expansion teams, right? At the same time, as the Oilers kind of went away. There's a whole expansion in the early 2000s, late 90s. That's when the Browns happened. That's when I think the Panthers happened, the Titans happened, and the Texans happened.
Yep. Yeah. So that's good. So they literally, that one was Houston Oilers was the team. That's why I love their throwbacks.
Oh,
when they
so
have
beautiful.
that,
they're so good.
So they moved to be the Titans, and then yes, they did the expansion, and then Houston still got a team, back again as the Texans.
Okay, so how many do we have? We have
so
Raiders.
So I
Raiders,
have a bonus one which
I don't know
if you'll know it or not, but we'll see. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's 10.
Yep.
We have 4.
Chargers.
You've got.
Yeah, San Diego and LA. I knew that one, but I was gonna go.
Technically, it's not 10. I mean, because there's those.
Okay, so how many do we have technically right now?
New teams we haven't said.
No, I got you.
That would be.
So I'm giving you the Ravens, Cleveland one as one. So you're missing 1, 2, 3. You're missing 3, and then my bonus one.
He said San Diego Chargers and LA, which is definitely right.
Yep. Good
What
one.
about, man, this might be the one. What about the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Was that the
No, that's not the bonus one, but
okay,
yeah,
'cause
that
was Chicago.
Yep, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I think the bonus one's one of the New England teams, one of the New York, New England area teams. Because
Was that it for the Cardinals though? Was it just Chicago then Arizona?
No, so it was a Chicago and then St. Louis as well. They before when you got the first switch between before the Rams moved back to St. Louis, they were in St. Louis.
The St. Louis Cardinals?
Yep.
Baseball.
Baseball as well. Yeah, and that's where that's where it gets confusing, right?
But like I fucking know what I'm still talking about. All right,
yeah,
so
then technically they were Phoenix, but then in Arizona was their,
Then we have 2 left. Then bonus.
So one left, and then
one left. Yeah, because we got San Diego. Okay, so one more left. That we should probably know.
Correct.
All right, let's go through Fancy.
I know Fancy knows this.
It's the Colts. Weren't they
Good
St.
one.
Louis?
Yep.
Wow, dude, St. Louis just ran through, huh?
Dude.
So
dude, they got everyone down there, man.
He's half right. No, it is the
So
Colts.
Huffy's not a Chiefs fan, though.
So it is Colts. But they were the Baltimore Colts.
Oh, Baltimore. That's right.
So Baltimore. No, so Baltimore, and then they moved the franchise, but then that's why then Cleveland moved to go hit that market, and
yeah,
that's where we got the Ravens.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So
the bonus is someone in New England. I think like it was the Patriots were somewhere else. They weren't considered New England, right? And they were different.
I didn't think that is a good point, but no, that's not where I was going with this one.
Okay.
You got to think who's at, just like you do every week, right? Who's asking the question?
Oh, it's Detroit Lions.
So you got to think of who's asking the question.
Were they in Canada or something? Just useless, like
no. So for some reason, even though we have
this before you investigated this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just like always, this is like that's what I thought of actually the question, and then I like try to actually get a broad question to answer it. So this week my thought process was, so Detroit, even though we have beautiful downtown, for some reason our basketball team and
downtown shooting range
and our football team were in Pontiac, and then Auburn Hills is where most recently our basketball team was. So with football, we were in the Pontiac. It was the Pontiac Silverdome, and which is like not like really. I mean, it is pretty far outside of Detroit, right? It's Metro Detroit, but it's outside of Detroit, and so then they finally did. With the Ford family, we finally did move downtown. But yeah, Detroit Lions went from an outside city to back downtown. So I counted that as my bonus one.
And the Bears might be the next one, man. Bears are going to Chicago to Arlington, Illinois. So
I saw a thing that said like the distance from the city that they claim to their actual stadium, and some of them are like over an hour difference.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what we had.
There's no room. I mean, all these cities are like all these cities. Like, where do you fit a stadium inside of like Dallas? I mean, like where do you?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
Dallas,
the Chiefs are about to move.
I mean,
the
the
Cowboys
are
going to move
40 minutes from Dallas.
Well, they're right in between. They're right in between. That's why it was such a good. That's why it was a good move.
That's why they get away with it. Yeah,
for their market. Yeah. That was a good thing.
No, yeah, that was a good little.
Yeah,
that was a good little thing. I definitely. Would you have gotten the Cardinals one, Fancy, if I didn't get it?
No, I wouldn't have got the Cardinals.
All right, good.
Yeah, that was a good pull. I didn't know if you're gonna be able to do that one.
I knew they were like Because it was funny, dude. It's actually crazy that you just talked about that before you joined in. We started the podcast up. Me and Fancy were talking about teams. We're talking about people being fans and stuff like that. And we were talking about like it's okay to change teams because we were talking about the Cowboys. And then one of his uncles went from being a longtime Cowboys fan. And then when it went to the Jerry Jones era, he was like, "I hate this guy. I'm out." Went Broncos. He's been
Mhm.
Broncos since the '90s. And I said
Wow.
that's fine. Like things change, franchise change. You don't have to stick with it if you don't actually agree with it, right? It's like people are so miserable they're just scared to go find somewhere else to be root for. But we were talking about that, and he was talking about the Oilers, and I was talking about the St.
Okay.
Louis Rams and all this other stuff. So it's interesting that you picked that one, and we just talked about all that
Yeah,
stuff.
that's funny.
It's crazy that works that way.
That is wild.
But no, fun trivia. Good podcast, man. But all you guys that are listening, make sure you guys are please sub to the YouTube channel. Like Fancy said last week, let us know, this week who you got in DraftKings. Let us know who you're betting on, who you like this week for fantasy football. Ask us some questions. Let us know who's listening, who's watching. Don't be afraid to go down there and just leave a comment and let us know. Make sure you guys are following on our TikTok as well and our Instagram. That's where we will post our DK lineups. But other than that, you boys got anything to say?
No,
No,
happy Thanksgiving.
I'm ready to wrap it up. Yeah, hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving again.
Yeah.
And I know we're
Thanks
gonna
for 2
start off.
happy Thanksgivings. No birthday wishes.
We're gonna start off. We're gonna start off the day tomorrow with a
Okay.
nice Green Bay win,
Yep.
and
Oh,
Well, it's today. If they're listening, it's today.
he said
That
today
you're
over
wrong.
mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was wrong, but he was right.
Right.
He was right about the day, but wrong about the result. I got hey, those are listening. -3 Lions, -3 49ers, -3 Cowboys. Let's roll.
Great Thursday.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. See you guys next time.
later.
Later.